All right, welcome for another episode of Less Kevin, More Tech at utechit.com. So this week, it really is less Kevin.
Absolutely.
More tech. So we got an upgrade in a co-host this week. And over. So, it's snowing, it's cold out. And so Kevin is where, Dan?
Yeah, he's in Mexico.
He's in Mexico.
Puerto Vallarta.
So we use this opportunity to upgrade. And so we've got Dan Heimler, our director of sales.
Yep. Thanks.
Dan.
Thank you for being here.
Yep. Say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here this morning and looking for some good conversation with Les and Patrick.
Yeah. So our guest this week, Patrick. Patrick, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do with UTEC, and...
So I've been at UTEC for about 7 years as our warehouse manager.
Yep.
Been in a few different roles there, but primarily running the warehouse and managing our inventory.
So let's get good right now. Kevin's not here, so how is it really working for Kevin for 6-7 years now?
It has challenges, but it's good overall.
This is not being recorded, Patrick.
Yeah, we're not recording this. This isn't going out to anywhere. Just having a little bit of fun. So 7 years. What did you do prior?
Prior to that, I was worked for a competition, and I was an on-site tech
Okay.
at one of their main campuses or their accounts.
Got it.
And then prior to that, I worked in the retail industry.
So cool. So you do have a lot of experience in our industry, right? And you came over from the competition.
Correct.
Sounds like. What motivated that move?
I wasn't totally happy with what I was doing and felt like my skills were being underutilized, so decided to seek somewhere else to go.
Cool. All right. So when you came over, right, what was your first task or what did you do?
So first thing I did was UTEC was struggling with managing their inventory, so they just stuck me in literally a cage. It was a cyclone fence at our old building in a cage, and I really just managed the parts and supplies going in and out of the warehouse.
So Dan, you're familiar with I never got to see the cage. I've heard stories.
Oh, it's a cage.
Yeah.
That old building was definitely not an attraction for talent. And the people that went there were told there was going to be a new building.
Yeah.
And eventually there was, which the one we're in now,
right.
You know of, which is great. So it was interesting how much business we did out of that building.
Uh-huh.
And when I came on board, I've been there now 7.5 years. And when I walked into the building, I looked at Kevin. I said, "You can't be serious. This is what you're doing here." And it was very different from the days of the other company. Right. And we made a great change. It's totally two different worlds, right. That we're in. So, but Patrick was literally back in his desk was inside the cage.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was like a caged animal back there.
Pretty much.
So humble beginnings.
Very.
Okay, cool. So what did you take away from that experience?
Well, it made me appreciate when we moved to the new building, having more space. Literally, you were confined and crammed in an area. I mean, you had no room to move around. And when we had large equipment deals and machines, sometimes they didn't go to the other warehouse. They'd come to our building, and you had just a standard door to go in and out of. And so you had to unload a truck there. So that was probably one of the biggest things I appreciated moving to another building.
Getting the space.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients, they don't know you they don't know the inner workings of UTEC. And, one of the things that keeps coming back in all our surveys, we talk about this. We survey all of our clients after every service call. We survey them after delivery. There's a lot of communication with the help desk, so on. So there's a lot of interaction with a lot of people in the company, but it really starts after internally customer service after our order's placed, and that's you, right? You manage not only the setup, the warehouse, but you also do the ordering, right? Your team does.
Correct.
So what do you share with us your perspective on customer service? What makes UTEC different?
So, I mean, like you said, with the warehouse, we're really the first ones to touch it, and essentially, other than the driver delivering, we're the last ones to touch it going out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's our responsibility to really make sure that we properly check it in, make sure we have proper stock, there's no damages, and make sure that it goes out the door the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So,
In terms of the customer experience, if you will, if our guys are you're delivering the equipment, what are some of the checks and balances that you do to make sure that what the client ordered is what the client is getting?
yeah, so we have a packet that's turned in that gets put into our system as a sales order, and when we go to pull it, it has all of our itemized list, of what we need and what the customer's looking for, and if they want, let's say a copier, they want a finisher, they want a certain stand. So we make sure we check all that in, and it gets put back in the setup for the guys to get prepped and get delivered out the door.
Right. And then also for the mail.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing.
How about from a perspective of connectivity?
As far as the warehouse with the connectivity of the machine,
Yeah.
we are not part too much of that. That's more of the setup end. But that's part of the packet that goes with the machine as it moves through the process.
Okay, good. One of the things that I've been impressed with is if a client has a special need or a requirement in terms of like IP addresses or an address book setup, those kind of things, we actually work with them and we try to do as much of it as we can in the warehouse and setup. And that's a pretty daunting task when you start to think about all the different clients, different networks, different configurations.
Well, and sometimes trying to get that information from the customer, I sit and listen to the other guys making the phone calls, and it's not easy. And sometimes they go out there with partial information, and they just have to do it upon delivery.
Figure it out. That's another good aspect of the customer service part is that it's not a third party company dropping off a machine.
Right.
And so therefore people on your team are able to interact with the client, interact with our help desk to deliver a complete package.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you made a good point, Les. The technology piece of this, the connectivity piece that we use, and I've talked to other dealers who still will deliver equipment and then set it up or send somebody after it's delivered to set it up on site. And I know that our guys are on site. Jason's on site for a very short period of time because most of that work is done ahead of time. And I think what ends up happening by going through that process is we get to know more about what they're going to use that piece of equipment for. We've been doing this for a long time, right? Over 25 years. And back then I thought, well, what else could a copier do? Like, what are they going to make it do next? And now when you start talking about cloud integration, data security, those pieces are very important for clients right now. So we need to be having conversations with their IT staff. Yeah. And it's just a much bigger piece than just going to purchasing and buying a copier. It's a lot different. Patrick does a fantastic job in the warehouse piece of making that stuff move. And I just look at even 7 years where we were, right, at the old building we touched on, and now the new building. And our new building is 30,000 square feet. We're starting to occupy over half of that, and now the warehouse next door of this open suite. So, we've grown so much, and there's more to go too, right? So just all of that together, and then you're just doing a fantastic job back there, Patrick. So we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, so we're seeing this growth, right? What are some of your ideas or plans to manage that?
We obviously, going into the warehouse next door space, but just doing it better.
We want to keep that high level of service. And
Correct.
a lot of times when organizations grow, there's a distance that grows between the company and the salesperson. I know that as we talk as a team, we really want to maintain that high level customer experience. Keep that kind of small business family feel while growing. So.
Yeah, you definitely have to adapt. I know for the warehouse inventory management wise, it becomes a little more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You have to develop new ways to better control it, better manage it.
Mm-hmm.
Product ordering becomes a little more challenging, especially with the supply chain that we're dealing with now. So, yeah, it brings a new set of challenges, and we just have to adapt and make sure that we're on top of it and managing it properly.
So everything that we hear, regarding that supply chain, we're doing a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
Right.
Sharp's doing a really good job with that.
Well, we put the order in for the school system we just did, and Patrick is always on top of like checking every day. And I asked him, I said, "Well, what's going on with this? We got any ETAs?" He said, "I'm getting 56 skids in on Thursday." I think they showed up Wednesday night.
They did, yeah,
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
56 skids of product. So
it's awesome.
that's a good thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the ability to ingest it into our system efficiently.
Right.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to plan ahead and make sure you know where it's going and how you're gonna set it up and unbox it, because it'll get messy real fast if you don't.
Yeah.
Where is the finisher?
Right.
That's awesome. What other ideas do you have for growth, for managing the growth?
At some point, as we continue to get bigger, it'd be nice to get a bigger team, in the warehouse setup area, and be able to work with all those individuals and see the company grow and the warehouse, become even busier. But just to, in general, just continue to develop my professional skills and grow myself.
Yeah. So you talked about this expansion of the warehouse. How are we gonna? Because we're familiar inside the building. I'm just trying to understand the mechanics of that. Expand. Are we taking a wall down?
Well, no, I won't give our hopes up, but maybe a doorway. But
Portal.
A
yeah.
portal. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
3-dimensional.
But yeah, I mean, we at least have that space, right now to use. So it'll work out.
Cool.
Till we need a bigger building.
right. Till we needed a big, right.
We just kick out the other guys and take over their area.
Right,
Yep.
right. So away from work, what do you do? For family and hobbies and things like that.
Right now, when I come home from work, I'm spending a lot of time with our son. He just turned a year old.
Whoa, getting any sleep?
I probably get more than my wife. She lets me know that sometimes because I don't always wake up when something happens. But no, we spend a lot of time with our son, and I do golf, in the summertime with some of my buddies. When we get an opportunity, go to car shows with my dad and my brother, stuff like that.
Car shows? What kind of cars?
Classic cars. I'll go with them. We go to the Dream Cruise every year. My brother and I will go with some of his buddies, and we'll just drive through down there and enjoy the Dream Cruise. So.
Do you have a car or anything?
I have my grandpa's. It's an older '98 Mark 8. So
A Mark 8.
Yeah.
Lincoln.
Yep.
Nice. Going in style.
Yep.
Actually, Patrick and I were on the bowling team a couple of years ago. So he does bowl too.
I do that too. Yep.
So give
That
up
was a
the
fun
goods.
league.
What's your average?
I'm maybe 100. So it got better as time went on.
Yeah,
but
he improved some over the course of the season. So
See, when I bowl, my average as time goes on in the evening.
it drops.
yeah,
Well, the booze will do that to you too.
What?
booze. Yeah,
We drink Powerade.
yeah.
But anyway, so that's cool. So you got a lot of good activities outside of work,
Yep.
life balance, that kind of thing.
Yeah, UTEC allows us to have a good work-life balance, so that's always good.
Yeah, that's becoming more and more important as with all the interconnected social medias, smartphones. People are having a hard time separating, the work time from the personal time. So that actually is something that I also appreciate with the company.
Yeah, Kevin's always done a really good job. He always recognizes how important family is, and something comes up, he'd be like, go, just take care of it, do what you got to do. So he does a good job with that.
What are we do a lot of the little things around the office there. Everybody sits around the lunch table, and we've got the grill out back. I think we did.
Well, the fun thing is on Fridays, right, is the golf.
Yeah.
Weren't you in the playoff last week?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so
Would we have 3 people?
yeah, we had 3 people in the playoffs. So basically, you get 3 balls. We got if you don't know, we have a 9-hole putt-putt course throughout our office. And there's one hole that's outside Kevin's office. It's probably about a 20-foot, 25-foot putt.
Yeah.
And everybody throws in a buck if you're around on Friday afternoon, and the person that gets the most balls in the hole wins the money, or there will be a playoff. Yeah. And if the playoff, there's no winner, then the money carries over. So right now, this afternoon, there's a carryover of, I don't know, there's usually a dozen to 20 people there, just depending on who's in the office on Friday afternoon. So I think that's there's music playing. I mean, it's a good way to end the week, and I think everybody kind of hangs out and does a little, there's a little camaraderie going on. So it's pretty fun.
And you're kind of a ringleader in that, I see.
Yeah, I can sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. He seems
I surprise
quiet.
myself.
He seems quiet, but he's not.
So when you tell us that you're coming in early to work in the warehouse, you're actually practicing your putting skills?
Yeah, I'm getting prepared for Friday.
Prepared for Friday? You don't juice up or anything, do you?
No.
No steroids or anything?
No, none of that.
I'm admittedly not a golfer, but so
I can attest to that.
Yeah, you can. So a few weeks back, I tried to outsource my labor.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. I had Joe putting for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
he did
funny.
pretty good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But then the rule book came out, and they wouldn't let him putt for me in the playoff round.
Yeah.
So how many times do you think you've won?
I would say maybe a handful of times.
A handful?
Yeah. This last week, though, I don't know what I was doing. I was not going anywhere near the hole there. So,
did you call in a coach or anything?
I should have.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed is there's a, I don't know if it's underneath the carpet, it's like a crack or something.
Yeah, you can tell there's the concrete has to have lined up right there.
Yeah.
And it's starting to drop a little on one side, so it sort of messes you up if you don't see it.
Yeah, I noticed some of you guys are rolling.
Well, and
in.
now with the winter, you've got the salt, so your ball, starts going, then it hops or whatever. That's something.
What do they call that in golf when they have a thing in the field or in the green? Isn't there a term for that?
No, I don't think there's an official term, but
we'll just stick with salt.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts or as it relates to your role with the company and customer service and?
I would just say, I enjoy what I do. And I've always liked managing the warehouse and the inventory side, and it really is a direct impact to our customers. If we don't have product, we can't take care of them and service them. So like I said, with the supply chain, it brings new challenges, but our main goal back there is to make sure we have what we need to keep our customers going, and I love doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for our clients out there, I think it's great for them to get to know you, get to know about your attitudes. Because if we're not running a really good, clean, organized shop, it'll be a disaster for the client with the delivery and
right.
The ongoing experience. One of the things actually we haven't even talked about this. I mentioned earlier how we survey our clients after every service call. If there's not parts, available, or certain times of the year, certain kinds of equipment run different.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's not that ability to manage, the parts that are now, I don't know this. Do you manage also the parts for the techs?
Yep. So, we do the equipment, the supplies, for our customers, and the parts.
But in the cars?
We do. Yep.
Really?
So technicians carry car stock. Our biggest thing is if we don't have to have a repeat call or a callback, they can just fix it, in a one-time shot. That's the best way. It gets the customer going. It's the most efficient. We don't have to go back out there. They're not disrupted again.
Yeah.
So
that brings up an interesting point in our business, because inventory of parts in a technician's car, right? That's money, right?
Correct.
That ties up cash flow. And I know that, some organizations in our industry really, really tightly manage the car stock of the techs. And so what happens is, they go out, they place the order for the part while they're at the customer site. Part comes in the next day, then they do the fix. And what I'm hearing you say is our philosophy is a little bit different. It's first time fix.
That's our main goal. Yeah, if we can do it in one shot, that's the best way, most efficient way, and it's going to be beneficial to the customer.
Right. And just thinking through as we're talking, that's actually a savings for the business because, they don't have to make the return call.
Correct.
Even though the techs may have more parts in their cars than maybe our competitors do.
Right. We have generally carried, a higher car stock than some of our competitors for that reason, especially maintenance items, because those are things, you're going to have to do to a machine. So, if they can carry those and when they're out there, they can just do it.
That's probably one of the reasons we get such a high rating.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing too is, Sharp did a really good thing about 7 years ago when they came out with a line of copiers that used all the same parts, all the same toner.
Mm-hmm.
And so from 26 pages up to 60 pages a minute, you had all the same toners and all the same parts. So what that does is that eliminates a lot of additional stock needed in the tech's car. The customers don't have to have a bunch of different types of toners in their office if they're keeping extra stuff on hand. So they did a really good job, and now we're starting to see that helps us. I mean, there's a lot of efficiencies that come with that.
Right.
Yeah, because the more parts that you have to manage, with your mini max levels, the more effort it takes to make sure you're right sizing the warehouse and for our technicians.
That's awesome. Well, I bet you our clients appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Without even knowing about it.
Yeah.
True.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's
it's
the goal.
and we keep seeing that. Like we have gotten so many different emails. So the surveys you talked about, which started this whole conversation. We have guys on our help desk. Tim, I don't know if has he been on the podcast.
Yes, he has.
So Tim's gotten many accolades. I know other guys on the team have gotten many accolades of what they've done for the customers, and it's nice to see that. Everybody likes to call. We're a service company, so everybody likes to call and complain when something's not working. So it's nice when people call and say, "Hey, nice job," and we're starting to see a lot of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you get more of that, personalized experience, because I know Kevin's always been really big on, not having an automated phone line. You talk to a person.
Right.
We're growing, but we're small enough still. You have that personalized experience, and the customers feel that they're taken care of. Or they're not dealing with a big box company that's you can't get through to anybody and whatnot.
Yeah, the voicemail tree.
Yep.
Right. That's awesome. I learned a lot. I appreciate that. So I appreciate you. Appreciate everything you guys do in the back. I mean, it's there's just so much that goes on back there, and keeping it running and keeping it smooth is, I think, a pretty good testament.
I know when I do tours for new salespeople or anybody coming in and giving them a tour and taking them into the warehouse, I mean, they're like, this is really organized and clean, which it's always like that. I mean, it's never dirty. It's never looks like what the heck happened back here. So again, another great job on that stuff. And, that takes time. It takes time and effort to do that kind of thing. So
it does. So Patrick, got to ask you a question we ask all our guests. Kind of already know the answer, but what's your favorite bourbon?
I don't know. I don't really have one.
Mine was this one.
I guess this one we have here, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're still looking for a bourbon sponsor, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for our podcast.
And I'm glad we did this after hours because we don't want to do this during work time. I mean, I'm glad we took time after work on a Friday to do this.
Right, exactly.
We missed out on the putting.
Being smart about it.
So, Dan, you want any closing comments? How did you like being the upgrade?
I'm sure the guests are going to really appreciate it very much, which, that's great. And, I appreciate Kevin when he goes golfing a lot. It allows us to do our jobs a lot cleaner and simpler at the office. So thank you, Kevin. We appreciate that. I know you're going to love it when you listen to this one. But it's a great place. I mean, we're so customer focused. Everybody has the same attitude at the office. Yep. And it really is customer first, all the way from when they call in, Terry answers the phone, or one of the girls or guys answers the phone, all the way to getting the equipment out the back door, right? It's just it's the customer comes first. We all know that, and we all work like that.
It's awesome. Oh, well, so for Patrick, we appreciate you coming by, and thanks for sharing a little bit with our clients about your world and all the good things you do.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Okay, good.
All right. Thanks, guys.